Good morning. Hey, we're in Grimsby at the Grimsby Tennis Club, and we're getting ready for the first annual Janco Steel Wheelchair Tournament. Very exciting, happening for 4 days this week. And we have the president of the Grimsby Tennis Club and the organizer of this great tournament, Ron Mauro. Say good morning to everybody.
Good morning. Thank you for covering this event.
We're happy to be here, Ron.
We're delighted that you're here.
Tell us about
just
it. What's happening?
Just a small correction.
Okay.
This is actually the second tournament. We held one in 2019, but because of COVID, we weren't able to do it in 2020 and 2021. Okay. So this is the first time that we were able to actually put the second one on. So that's
right.
Good. So we're happy that it's nice weather, and we're hoping for this weather all. And I know you're in charge of the weather.
Yeah, twist my arm a little bit. Yeah. Well, tell us about this. Okay, the second tournament. This is the second tournament. Tell us what's happening here at the Grimsby Tennis Club.
Well, we're having 30 athletes coming from different parts of the world. We have a couple of athletes from Japan, one from Israel, one from Portugal, various parts of the USA, Los Angeles, Hawaii, Arizona, and then from 4 provinces in Canada, BC, Quebec, Nova Scotia, and Ontario, of course.
That's incredible. And this tournament, so it's Tuesday to Friday?
It's Tuesday to Friday, yes.
And what are they competing for? Tell us about it. Who are these athletes?
Well, many of these athletes are competing not just for the prize money that is available to them, but they're competing for ranking points. A lot of them have aspirations of being in the Olympics, representing their country. So this is why they're here. And this is a futures level tournament. And a futures level tournament means that it's a gateway to higher level tournaments.
Gotcha.
So some of these athletes are somewhat beginners within 3-4 years of joining the sport.
Wow.
And eventually, as they get better and better, they can compete in higher level tournaments.
What does it mean to you, Ron, to be hosting this tournament here?
Yeah. We're very proud. Grimsby Tennis Club is a very welcoming and inclusive tennis club. We have, we have all kinds of programs for different needs. You have children, you have athletes, we have seniors who, they basically play early morning, that's all they play.
Right.
We also make our courts available to the community. Last week we hosted what we call a Have a Go session where disabled people from the community were able to come in and try an adapted sport.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I love how you're very inclusive here. This tournament sounds like it's going to be very exciting. We're going to talk more about it, and we're also going to talk to some of the athletes here, and I think I'm going to learn how to play, or at least try to play.
That would be a challenge for you.
Thank you, Ron, and we'll be back. We're at the Grimsby Tennis Club, getting ready for a very special tournament. It's a beautiful morning. The sun is shining. We're at the Grimsby Tennis Club, getting ready for a very special tournament taking place, the Janco Steel Wheelchair Tournament. And there's so much happening here until Friday. And what better a way to get a real good perspective on this tournament than talk to one of the athletes themselves. And this is Gillian, Mauro, and wow, I mean, okay, you're an athlete, you're a blogger, you're an author, you're a mother, and you're an inspiration to so many people. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey with playing tennis?
Yeah, well, thanks for having us on the show, because it does give great promotion for our event. For me, my journey started with wheelchair tennis in about 2017. So prior to that, I was always an athlete. Did competitive hockey and soccer, and did that all through university. And then when I was done university, I thought, I need a new sport to play. And my dad said, well, I'm the president at the Grimsby Tennis Club, so you should join there. I said, okay, why not? I'm probably not going to fall in love with it like I did with the other sports. But it was like love at first swing, I call it. So yeah, it was great. But the other thing is my whole family was involved with it. So my son and my ex-husband, ex-husband now, but husband at the time, so he and my son were always out on the court, and my parents were on the court, and I stayed involved when I couldn't play. Like I started to lose the ability to play able-bodied tennis. I remained as a tournament director just to stay involved with the club, but that turned out to be really, really difficult because I wasn't able to play. I was just watching it all the time. So I went into my darkest depression, I would say, at that point when I lost the ability to play sport because it was such a part of my life before. So I went 5 years without playing, and I made a promise to myself, if I don't play able-bodied tennis in 5 years, I'm going to play wheelchair tennis. And I made that promise to my husband at the time and my mom. I'm not sure if they believed that it would come true quite so soon, but 5 years, almost to the day, I said, okay, I'm gonna start wheelchair tennis. And I had no idea of what was involved. The first thing I realized was how expensive the chair is. So $8,000 for this type of chair. It's a really different chair in terms of the way it's structured.
Right.
So I couldn't play the sport without that specific chair. So shortly after, one of our friends started a GoFundMe page, and I had, support from all tennis clubs in the area, spanning from Grimsby to Burlington, and within a week I had enough raised for my own sport chair.
Wow.
And so, but my first entrance into wheelchair tennis actually started at kind of a have-a-go day. It was at the Rogers Cup, and the coach was there, and it's basically for anyone to try wheelchair tennis. So they would bring on Para as the governing body, they'd bring a bunch of chairs and people can just try it. And that was for sort of my first entrance into it, I would say. I was using a borrowed sport chair that Terry and Judy Roberts from Aldershot arranged for me to use. I'm not quite sure who it was, but I know it was a borrowed chair. And that was just to hold me over till I got my own chair, because I wanted to compete right away. And I reached out after the GoFundMe session. I reached out to the coach saying, okay, I love it. Now how do I get involved in tournaments? Because with able-bodied tennis, there's tournaments everywhere. Like there's level A, B, C, everywhere. I thought it was going to be similar to wheelchair tennis. And he said, no, it's actually just international competition.
Wow!
So the only tournament left this summer is an ITF Level 1 event, which is the highest level international event prior to the Grand Slams and the Paralympics. That was my first time going to a tournament. I never played against anybody with wheelchair tennis, never played against anybody in a wheelchair. I'd only played with family and friends up until that point. And that was an eye-opening experience, because I showed up in a day chair that was still a hospital folding, borrowed looking chair, and then a sports chair that was kind of like paint chipped and like old.
Yeah.
And all these athletes that we'll see here at this tournament are professional. They have their professional looking sport chair, their professional day chair. And that was, for me, I was like, oh my gosh, like this can really be competitive. This isn't just like, let's get out on a Sunday and have a few swings with the family. Like this is actually a competitive thing that I can get.
Deal.
And this was for me, I wanted to compete. Like I love being able to play with my son and my family, but for me, it wasn't the same as competing, because competitive hockey and soccer, that's all I did was compete.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of my journey.
Well, you're naturally athletic, and I mean, so much respect to you.
Thank you.
For inspiring, I'm sure, so many people watching right now,
Thank
hearing
you.
your story, they
Thank
can
you.
relate. And you're here at another tournament, fingers crossed for
Yeah,
you, Gillian.
thank you.
And we'll be back talking to another athlete and more about this amazing tournament and all of these amazing people here. Thanks again, Gillian.
Thank you.
Good morning. We are in tennis mode here. We're at the Grimsby Tennis Club, and there's a very special and exciting tournament happening. It's the Janco Steel Wheelchair Tournament, and that's taking place until Friday. Fingers crossed on the weather. Talking to some of these amazing athletes here, and this is Gary Luker. Gary, okay, athlete, father. Hopefully your kids are watching right now. Hi, kids.
Hi, guys.
Be good to your dad. He's pretty amazing. Can you tell us about what this tournament means to you?
This one in particular is close to home, obviously, which makes a huge difference in, especially wheelchair athletes. For funding-wise, it's a lot less money. No travel. I'm staying at home. So, I mean, it always costs more to get to the tournament than you're going to win, unless you're like, the top guys winning all the time. Right, so local tournaments are huge for local athletes. It's not something that happens too often, and it's so appreciative.
And what have been some of the challenges for you playing wheelchair tennis?
Well, as a quad, I have no use of my core. Like I can't use my core muscles, so that kind of makes me wobbly in the chair. And my hands are not good enough to hold a racket. I can hold the racket, but if I start swinging and hitting the ball, it's gone. So I have to secure it with tape. So there's no adjusting of the racket, the grip, which tennis players do for certain shots, depending. Yeah. And so I've learned to live with having only one grip, and I'm good with that now. I'm more upset about the core issue. Like more of the downfall to me, not the taping of the racket. So.
Well, you found a way. So triumph for you of playing wheelchair tennis. Tell us about that.
So I'm coming up 20 years injured. So I started about 2 years after injury, and it was slow moving, but I kept progressing all the way to the Ontario team, to the national team, to competing in the Worlds for Canada, and it's just been, it saved my life, really. It made me independent, it made me active. You know, I'm not sitting at home doing nothing. I'm out and out and about, and I absolutely love tennis, whether I'm in a tournament or not, just playing for fun during the week. It's great.
So somebody who has to deal with some physical challenges, what is the first thing you could tell them to do to try to motivate themselves to do something like you and Gillian have done? What's some advice you could give somebody watching?
Absolutely. Like, I played sports able-bodied, and this wasn't my first, I didn't necessarily want to do this, but try it. You have to try it. It's liberating. When you get out of your everyday chair and you're in a sports chair that moves a lot better and spins, it's crazy how good it feels, and just being able to move even way better than my everyday chair, right? So, and then once I tried it, I was hooked, absolutely hooked.
Well, I saw you playing, and you're really good, and I'm rooting for you for this tournament here. It's, again, the Janco Steel Wheelchair Tournament. This is the second one. I heard that they did one before COVID, and then it had to be postponed like everything else. But here we are in Grimsby. Thanks so much for talking with us, and I believe you guys are going to show me a little bit how to play.
Oh, I'd like that.
I don't know how that's going to go. We'll be back on Morning Live. Well, we're hanging out at the Grimsby Tennis Club, and we're getting ready for a very special tournament. It's a Janco Steel Wheelchair Tournament. Talked to some athletes, Gary, Gillian today, president of the club, Ron, and why not have me try as well? I mean, already sitting in this, Gary Luker, everybody. If you missed the segment earlier, he's one of these incredible athletes. You're going to show me about this, and I'm telling you, it's just, I can't even wrap my head around this. So please walk me through it.
Well, technically, you're in a basketball chair, but they're not much different. You know, it has guards here because there's more contact with other chairs. That's not really going to happen in tennis. Hopefully not, anyways. In doubles, it could happen, but anyways, it's pretty similar. So once you're in the chair, if you're going to push forward with both wheels at the same time, you'll go straight.
Gary, why are the wheels on an angle
The wheels
outward?
are what they're called cambered. So, like, my everyday chair the wheels will be straight up, and my tennis chair is cambered, so they're like this. So they're like that for spinning. So for tennis, you want to hit a shot, you want to recover back as far as you can, back to get to and always recover from the next ball. And in tennis, you want to always be moving. And the hardest thing to do is to start moving after you stop. So move, don't stop moving, even if it's just this.
Oh, really?
Because then the momentum's already taken you, so don't,
It's a lot of coordination involved in this.
If
I
you're
mean,
not used
thinking,
to it,
okay, if I'm going to hit this way, which way do I have to? Wow.
Right.
I mean, and I was noticing you guys spin right around. Any tips for somebody like me just starting out? Like, what would be some things right away that I could just think of and do and maybe not embarrass myself?
Maybe not move yet. Just stationary, hit a ball. Because that's going to be something that you could probably get, especially if you play tennis. You can hit a ball, and then factoring in the movement after. It's still going to be tough. Still, it'll take a while, but yeah. Or get moving without a racket and learn that, but maybe not both at the same time.
Okay, and so we have 30 athletes around the world coming for this tournament, and you're going to be playing against some.
Yeah. I'm in the quad division, so because we have limitations to our upper body or our upper limbs, so my hands are mainly affected. My arms are pretty good, so that's what puts me in the quad division. And again, I tape up, so I'll be playing other guys with similar function.
All right. Well, good luck to you. Thanks. Good luck to you. Okay, let's play.
Okay.
So tell me, I'm just following your lead. We have Gillian over there, and who's the lady in the blue? Oh, Deirdre. Yes, of course. Deirdre. Sorry, you had your back to me. Okay. All right.
Okay, so do you want to just do mini, or do you want to play at the back? How you feeling?
I'll do mini.
All right. So get that racket in your hand.
Oh,
so
boy.
how you want to be able to maybe hold the racket, and you're going to push with the racket. So
you're pushing with the racket too to move you. This is incredible.
That's not going to be easy for you.
No,
I know it's going to be
lots
an
of
adjustment.
practice involved. Wow.
So, and the other thing about wheelchair tennis is we're allowed 2 bounces. That's the only difference.
Okay.
The first bounce has to be in. The second bounce can be outside the court, but you're allowed. You don't have to take 2 bounces, but you're allowed 2 bounces.
All right.
So, you ready, Jill?
Oh.
Ah,
Thank you.
so keep moving if you
Go
can.
backwards.
I'll give you a
That's
chance.
yours, Gary. Ah! What would I do without Gary? Come on, Deirdre.
There, you got this one. Oh! Got a ball, Jill?
Wow. This must take so much time. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Gary, that's yours. All right, I don't think I've even hit a ball yet. Morning Live.
There you go.
So happy to, yes, I did one right when we're signing off. All right, thank you everybody. Grimsby Tennis Club, and good luck to everybody involved at this incredible tournament, the Janco Steel Wheelchair Tournament, right in our neck of the woods. Yay for the sunshine too. Thanks everyone, you're awesome. Woohoo!